back to Studio 5. It's a sticky social situation that can be difficult to approach and really difficult to handle. So let's say your kid has a conflict with, their other friends or their associates. Let's say, I guess kids don't have associates. They have friends.
5-year-old has an associate out there.
Yeah, maybe you've observed kind of a behavior among their friends or associates that you're not really comfortable with, that kind of as a parent you don't want to see your child pick up that trait or pick up that behavior. So what do you do and how do you handle it? When do you approach that other parent?
It's tricky. And Studio 5 relationship coach Matt Townsend has a few rules to help put into play. And since you've been in here today, this is how prevalent this is. So many people have been coming up and saying, hey, I had this problem, or I ran into this. Everybody knows about it.
Matt's saying, talk to the hand. Watch my segment in 5 minutes.
I'll charge you. But no, this is a huge issue. Because there's this weird social moment where you want to rip some other kid's head off because he did something to your child, and you can't. So what do you do? What do you do?
I wait till it passes. I just I just suppress it. I ignore it.
That's what I say. I say Marty will take care of that. I don't need to
deny.
I don't need to worry about it. So I have a rule. I have 3 times you need to say something. Okay. I call them the 3 Ps. If there's any pain involved, so if one kid went off and pounded on your kid, there's pain involved. We probably need to talk. If there's principles at play, like social principles, like dishonesty, or some family principles or religious principles that you believe and espouse, you probably need to talk to that part.
The big issues.
The big issues. And the last one is permanency. Anytime someone's doing something that's permanent to your child, like tattooing. If some child was tattooing your child in the playground, we'd need to talk. Okay, that's pretty permanent. No, but permanent could be anything. If you're breaking something, if they're doing something that could permanently hurt my child, like, let's go bungee jumping, pretty permanent. Okay? So that's when we'll talk. I call those the 3 Ps. Now, here's how we talk, though. Most of the time, if I see a child doing something to my child that I don't like, I immediately think that child, I'll just call him, is the son of darkness. Okay? Or spawn of Satan. You can call him whatever you want. So if I'm going to go talk
just
to that...
Just a little nickname for him.
That's right.
Matt has on his bumper sticker.
It is.
Imagine that.
Prince of Darkness. If I'm going to go talk to that kid's parents... That means I'm talking to darkness, because if it's the son of darkness. If I'm going to go talk to that kid's parents, what's the first thing I would say? Let's say a child hit my child on the playground, and it happens all the time. Let's say for years these two have been going at it. And let's say they maybe have a subtle crush going on, but really it's they keep hurting each other.
Okay.
And eventually I want to go talk to the parent. How do I approach this parent? What would you say to the parent?
I got to talk to you. Your son, your child, whatever, has been hitting my child. It's causing a problem or something.
And what would you say? Prince of
tell
Darkness.
your kid to back off. No.
Your kid's driving my kid crazy.
Same thing, kind of express the problem and see where it goes.
But what we do is we immediately jump into our interpretation. Like, your kid's out of control, or your kid has got issues, or your kid just hit my kid, and you need to teach your kid to quit hitting children. Okay, my rule is don't ever start with your interpretation of the event. Always start with facts. The facts are the most easy thing to just hand over. Like, and so I'd talk to the parent. I'd say something like, if I need to talk to him, by the way, it's a big judgment. Has there been pain? Is there a principle at play? But I'd start with the facts. And I'd probably say something very simple about the facts, like, did you know that your son hit my daughter today in school on the playground? And 2 weeks ago, they got in another fight, and that sent him to the principal's office. And I don't know if you remember last year, they did it again. So I've just laid out the facts. Now, if I just bring out the facts, most of us are sitting there thinking, wow, I might not even know my kid hit your daughter today. By sharing the facts first, it allows the parent to be informed before we start getting into our interpretation of the event.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Because so often we jump in and we say, hey, it's your fault, it's your problem, whatever, and there really are 2 sides of the story.
That's right.
If we can separate ourselves from that and lay out the facts, it's easier to find a solution.
The benefit of that is that you're always assuming I don't have all the facts, and I'm sure you don't either. So let me just give you some facts. What would happen if all of a sudden the parent said, oh, you know what, I'm so sorry. Like, in your head, you're thinking, I hate that kid, I'm going to kill him. But the parent says, you know what, I'm so sorry. We've been taking him to therapy, and he's just been diagnosed with a mood disorder, and we're trying to get his meds balanced. Does that change anything?
Puts a whole new mood on the situation.
Now, by the way, what changed the mood?
The facts.
More facts. So I don't know what's going on fully, and they don't know. So let's just start sharing facts. Sometimes you'll share the facts and then ask a question. That's the second point. Share the facts, then ask a question. So this has been going on, this has been going on, this has been going on. Would you be willing to help me work something out so this doesn't have to happen anymore? Ask a question. Or, this has been going on, this has been going on. Did you know this stuff was happening? So if you share the facts, sometimes that's all you need to do, and you'll have a parent freak out. No way did he hit you, I'm so sorry. Sometimes you share the facts, and then you can ask a question. Would you be willing to talk about that with me for a minute so we don't have to have our kids fighting? Okay? Asking a question does what?
Well, it turns it into a conversation.
Now we're
first of all.
talking.
Yeah.
And now we're talking about the issue.
And we're all trying to find a solution together because you've engaged the other person to try to help out here.
So if you start with facts, the same thing works with your marriage. Don't start with your interpretation that you hate me, because if you love me, you'd be here. Don't start there, Darren. Instead, share some facts. You know what? You were 45 minutes late today. Yesterday, you were an hour and a half late, and we talked about it last night. That's facts, okay? What's going on? Ask a question. Then you'll get them talking. When they talk, they'll give you more facts.
Okay.
The last thing you could try is a mix of more of this. Share the facts and your feelings. Your son hit my daughter yesterday. 2 weeks ago we did this, give more data, and it makes me feel really frustrated. It makes me feel like my daughter's not safe.
So I get nervous when you start working the feelings in, because then sometimes people get defensive, though, when you start bringing your feelings
They
into
will.
it.
And so, and sometimes...
You think they get more defensive when you bring your
They
feelings
might,
into it?
because it also depends. And I think your son's the spawn of darkness.
Yeah, that brings some of the
Well, that
interpretation
feeling,
into it.
okay.
Yeah.
So notice, that's kind of a negatively slanted feeling. So where I would share it, though, is always after the data. Now what you're saying is, this data makes me feel this way, and I'd like to talk about it, or is there something we could do? That's, if you're going to have to share your feelings, I would always share it in that order, versus your son's a spawn of darkness. The minute you say that, what will they immediately do?
They get defensive.
They'll get defensive, and they'll say, no, he's not. He went to church yesterday.
Yeah.
Now we're arguing data. Well, what church? And then all of a sudden it's fighting about silliness.
But when you said that, I mean, I'm getting nervous, my child's going to be, that almost took the wall down for me. I mean, so I think certain feelings, I don't know.
Well, and
that made it sound softer.
Well, it all depends. You are, and it does. The nervousness, though, the fear of it is we don't know the whole story. So we're getting nervous without the whole story, and most of us aren't that calm to just say that a feeling like nervous. We're saying like, I'm seriously angry
Good censorship right
at
there.
your child. I know. So do you see the order? There's always going to be facts, and there's always going to be feelings, and then I'd always ask questions. Any order of those, I would always start with facts first.
Don't ever start with the feelings.
Don't
first.
start. Sometimes, and it doesn't just mean feelings, but it's also our interpretation, our interpretation of the event. Like, obviously, if your son's hitting my son, your son's a bully. So what if I start the conversation? Hey, I wanted to talk to you about your son and how he's such a bully. Do you see where we're
Yeah.
going?
You're going to go nowhere.
He'll have already passed judgment that the son's a bully when you don't really know.
And then the parent will immediately say, he's not a bully. He walks the disabled children to school every day. Great, new data.
Right.
I don't want to hear that data. So it
Right,
makes sense.
right.
Facts first.
Okay.
Then get to your feelings and your interpretations or your conclusions, and then, but always be asking for information so that you don't say something without all the facts. Isn't that
Good
easy?
advice.
It's simple. Yeah, when you put it that way, it makes it easy. Like, how could we ever have any problems
I
like
know.
that?
We never have problems with our kids.
One reason you don't ever have any problems.